Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and today I'm bringing you a video on Magi's grandson, or Kenja no Mago. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a new anime that's going on. I'm covering it on the channel. Check it out if you have the time. Anyway, this time specifically, I'm bringing you a handy dandy reference guide to Shin and Sicily's fictional relationship for any of you casual fans who might want to read specific chapters, or you just want to get spoiled on how things are going to shape up in the future for these two. Because I know I love getting spoiled on these things. It's one of my pastimes. Anyway, we're just going to get right into the video. It's like I said, it's going to be a reference video. There's no real insights here. Maybe there will be a video with insights later, but this is just a handy dandy reference guide. It will have chapter numbers and actually chapter numbers and maybe page numbers, depending. Anyway, let's just get into it. Quick introductions first. Shin is the main character of Magi's grandson. He is someone from our world that died and was reincarnated into a fantasy world as a baby. That baby was rescued by an old man that eventually adopted him as a grandson. Shin's story starts when he moves to the capital in order to learn common sense. Shin is also exceedingly OP. Note, a lot of other things happen, but this is specifically just covering the romance for this one particular anime series. Moving on, Sizilien, or Sicily if you're reading manga, is the main female character. She comes into the story when Shin saves her and her friend from being harassed. Shin experiences love at first sight. They end up being classmates, and Shin becomes her bodyguard and protects her from a stalker guy. All this happens before episode 3 of the anime and by chapter 4 of the manga. So now let's officially get into the timeline here. We got a pretty strong start, but it only gets faster from there. Things do not just fizzle out, and that's in large part due to Shin's grandmother. Chapter 5 of the manga features what is effectively a real harsh interview instigated by Shin's grandmother Melida, or Melinda depending on if you're reading the manga. The interview revolves around whether or not Sicily is worthy of Shin trying to protect her. This leads to Sicily breaking down and admitting she was trying to take advantage of Shin's kindness, but that's what saves her in Melida's eyes. Specifically that she is able to acknowledge her faults. A few more things happen, but the big takeaways are that Sicily has the grandmother's approval, and the grandmother also acknowledges that she wants Sicily to get involved with Shin somehow. Anyway, after that, Shin is frequently accompanied by Sicily under the guise of either walking her home or being a bodyguard. Now, the next big highlight occurs a few days after Shin became Sicily's guard. Officially, this material was released in an extra chapter sometime after chapter 9, and it featured some pretty aggressive moves from grandma shipper Melida. Is it Melida? I might be mispronouncing it. Anyway, not a problem. Melida. I don't know what to do about it. I don't want to call her Melinda. Yeah, Melida. Let's just do Melida. Anyway, that aside, the gist of the scenario was that Melida asked Sicily's friend Maria how Shin and Sicily were progressing, and it wasn't good. Shin is dense, and Shin is Sicily's first love, so she doesn't know what to do. What a standstill. So they hatch a plot to make Sicily jealous and realize her feelings. It involved having Maria take Shin off to do errands, just the two of them, and then leaving Sicily behind. Eventually, Melida confronts Sicily on the fact that she can't stand seeing Shin with some other girl, and after breaking Sicily down a bit more, she gets her to affirm that she actually does in fact love Shin. It was ridiculously aggressive. It kind of changes my opinion on some parts of this relationship, but yeah, wow, what a time. Highly recommend you check out that extra chapter at the very least. Anyway, this culminates in Sicily telling her friend that she won't let her take Shin away from her. Which of course, her friend congratulates her on finally being able to say that, because that's kind of what everyone was kind of pushing for. The next big incident occurs in chapter 10 and revolves around an accessory. Shin asked Sicily what type of accessory she would like, got her flustered, and then revealed he was going to get everyone in their group an accessory as well. Sicily was made to feel embarrassed, and everyone called Shin out on it. And he then got her an accessory properly. It was a ring. There were enough jokes about it being an engagement ring. The next big highlights occur in chapter 12 during a joint training exercise. These are not the biggest highlights. It was just pretty much Sicily standing up for Shin against a guy who didn't think Shin was all that strong. And that chapter also involved people mistaking Shin and Sicily for a couple. The big thing here is the mistaking for a couple, because people are pointing it out. It's becoming more obvious. The next section of highlights occurs when Shin and the gang go to Sicily's domain, the town of Claude. Chapter 15 features a lot of the big events for Shin and Sicily. It all starts off when August tells Shin to make things clear with Sicily. Shin ponders on this, and eventually Sicily slips the thought that if she and Shin had children, they would be adorable, to which everyone reacted. But poor Sicily, she was embarrassed. Shin and Cicily later happened upon each other at a lakeside under a starry night, and this is where Shin finally tells Cicily that he loves her. Aww, like, oh, come on, that was adorable. That was a nice moment. Honestly, when I saw it, I really liked it. That was cute. It was cute. Anyway, to which Cicily affirms that she also loves him. And they become a couple, officially. They were going to have their kiss there, but their friends ruined the moment by spying on them. But at the end, everyone congratulated them. All their friends, the grandparents, Sicily's manservants, they all congratulated. Everyone was pretty happy. Now, you may think that is the end of it, but no, there's actually more. I know. That night, Shin is in the girls' rooms gossiping when Grandma Melida comes in to tell everyone to go to sleep. She's a parental chaperone. Anyway, stuff happens and Shin ends up in the classic compromise position with Cicily. But don't worry, nothing happens because Grandma finds him. Anyway, the fun keeps on going because things are not simple when you are dating a nobleman's daughter. The midway point of chapter 16 features Shin asking for Cicily's parents' consent to their relationship. And as we find out, everyone ships Shin and Cicily, even the parents. So much so that the parents escalate Shin and Cicily's relationship into a marriage. At this point, Shin's grandparents decide they have to come clean and reveal that Shin has no blood ties to them. The big reason being they don't want to deceive the family into thinking that they're marrying into their particular bloodline. To which Cicily's family say that they don't really care and Cicily loves Shin regardless. This was just a big moment to just point out how nice Cicily's family is in general. So much for that whole thing about the complications of dating a noble. We can just throw that aside. Oh, and this is the chapter where they have their first kiss after Cicily officially accepts Shin's proposal. He officially gives her an engagement ring. How nice. Well, things are kind of winding down because we had like that big powerful moment. We finally have the big kiss. But you know, the next little bit occurs in chapter 19 where we have the engagement party where everyone gets to see Cicily and Shin together. And this was also really nice, and I think it's a nice place to end this timeline of events because it's also the moment that the king officially recognizes that these two are to be wed. Overall, a very triumphant time for everyone involved. Now, full disclosure, this timeline is only going to be covering up to chapter 19 of the Kenja no Mago manga. And as it turns out, the Kenja no Mago manga currently has about 32 chapters released. So there's quite a bit of material that's unaccounted for. But the reason that I chose to just end it at chapter 19 is because, well, by chapter 19, you get to see the full formation of this relationship. Post chapter 19, you see the relationship being involved more in the main plot of Kenja no Mago. I guess more like the villainous plot. The villains notice that Shin has a weakness. They notice that Cicily is the weakness. In post chapter 19, what you end up seeing more is Shin being protective of Cicily, people targeting Cicily, and just watching how they try to protect Cicily as well, and just watching how Shin reacts to it. It's not all doom and gloom, of course. There are light moments, whether it be people joking about Shin having an heir, or whether it be people joking about contraception when Shin makes a special magical amulet. There's still little fun moments, but the big takeaway is that beyond chapter 19, Shin and Cicily's relationship becomes more plot relevant just because the villains are picking on it. But in terms of just the romantic journey, up to chapter 19 is good enough. If you go and you read up to chapter 19 and you enjoyed this journey, you want to see how this relationship works when it has pressure exerted from villains, I do recommend checking out the remaining chapters. But in terms of the story of Shin and Cicily's romance, you get the start and pretty much all the highs just from the first 19 chapters. One thing I do want to say before ending off this video is that going through it, you know, I got reminded of little things that I liked and little things that I thought were a little bit too much. Like, one thing I like is the fact that this was done in 19 chapters. I do think this is pretty cool to see a series that blended action, fantasy, and romance. And one thing that I really liked about the romance was that everyone called Shin out on it and Shin didn't flounder on it for too long. I really like that, you know, the moment that August tells him within the same chapter, he makes his decision. And while I do think it was really heavy-handed, the grandmother's actions, you know, they definitely progress things. I think it's aggressive how many times she put Cicily in a tough spot, but I do respect how aggressive they were to get these two people together. And I think that's one thing that I did enjoy just watching this fictional relationship. I enjoyed seeing just how blunt everything was, just how much everyone was pushing for this to happen. It's not something you see that often with some romance series, specifically when they start floundering around. But guys, let me know what you thought down below. If you know the relationship for the manga, let me know what you thought of that as well. How do you feel about it? I think it's really novel, so it's nice to have something like this every now and again to just change it up a little bit. Now, this is officially the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please, oh please, leave a like on the video. And if you want more Kenja no Mago videos, consider subscribing, and also feel free to share the video. Actually, that would be great. YouTube is not promoting my videos as much anymore, so it falls on people who want to see the channel succeed to help me spread the videos around, and hopefully they'll do well. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.